Hello, everybody. Welcome back to more EmblemCon 2026. I am here with Brergrsart talking about captures. I'm very interested about this one. I'm pleased. Would you like to tell us all about captures, Brergrsart?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, hello, I'm Brergrsart. You may have seen me somewhere else before. You may not have. That's okay. And I'm here to talk about captures. These people are my homies. They're my ride or dies. They're the unsung hero of Fates because every time I talk to someone about Fates, they either go to me, ew, Fates is your favorite game, or captures, I never use them. And it kind of makes me sad. So, I'm here to sing their praises for at least the next hour. So, hello. I guess whenever you're ready to go, let's get going. This, of course, is going to be a panel in which I encourage you guys to come chat with me, and then I'd be more than happy to just chat with you about captures, because this is going to be a very conversational place so everyone can say their piece. Also, Felicia, get out of the way, that you're not the one that's here. So let's just start talking about captures in the first place. Um, these are units that are very these are units that you can capture from the enemy. So I'll start by talking about what capture is. So it is a skill that both Orochi and Niles have. So Orochi is just called capture. Niles is somewhere here. This isn't about him. Don't worry about him. This isn't about you either, Orochi, now that I think about it. But they come with a skill called capture. So if there is an enemy who is a valid target, you can waltz right up to them and attack them. And if you KO them, they're yours. They end up in the prison. So right now, my prison is down here, I believe. Hello. There ain't nobody here right now, except Fuga. Hi, Fuga. Your wild ride is very fun. So once they end up in the prison, you can then bribe them and, you can bring them out with you. And so let's actually start with a tutorial of how to use captures. So I'll just restart my game real quick. I have two different saves. So once you capture a unit, they end up in the prison. You can recruit them. They become your best friend. There are two ways to do this. You can either, so this is my save with the prison. I've already found a wonderful volunteer here. Say hello to Fritz here. He's a mercenary. He's level 13. Kind of unreliable stat. No, he's very reliable. Very unremarkable stats so far. But you can capture this guy and you can make him a dear friend of yours. So, of course, we're going to go and persuade him. There may or may not be torture involved. Yeah, stay strong. There you go, Fritz. This usually doesn't work, but that's okay because I'm just going to give him a lot of radishes. And so now Fritz is part of our group. And so you might be wondering why these guys are my favorite units in the game. They're generic, they don't have any personal skills, they don't have any supports. There's a thing I like to use called the logbook. The logbook is a fantastic way to essentially use items for free. I can abuse the logbook to increase their stats, give them skills, and give them access to classes. So I have already prepared a lot of items here. So let's just go ahead and give him everything. You deserve everything, Fritz. You're my boy. Um, there you go. Whoops. Okay, you can have that, whoever took that. Yeah, sure. This is a great... Oh, boots can also be used on them. So the great thing about captures is that because they go through the logbook, once they use these items, you don't actually get to keep... You don't actually lose these items. I can even go ahead and make him a dread fighter if I wanted to. We'll just skip that for time here. Look at him go. Fritz is going on the Fritz here. And unfortunately, they don't have much to say. They are very Baruka size OC support coded. They only talk in ellipses. But that's because they're very they're stoic pals. You can use any item in the game on them, essentially. They're just like real units. For some reason, except First Blood. But that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and give him some more of these. That's okay. And so what you do after this is do not save your game. So once you save the game, those items are gone. You can't use them again. And so he's right now, once you capture him, he's in the logbook. And so what you do is you go here, update the stats, and there you go. As you can see, he's had a huge boost in stats. He's now a Dread Fighter. And then what you can do is go to the next battle. Um, and then you just go to whatever battle you want. It doesn't really matter. Um, then you just start the battle. Again, doesn't matter. If you are on casual, this will be a battle save. You can use that. But if you are on classic, just throw down a bookmark and off you go. And so as you go back into this, you delete your bookmark and you go back here. I think I made a mistake, by the way, because he's still in the prison. I didn't save after I took him out of the prison. Sorry, Fritz. But here he is still in the logbook. And so what you can do now is you recruit him. And so you need a lot of money for this, as you can see, because they stack up. Um, Once you give them a lot of stills, like Christoph over here, he's been with me since the very beginning. He don't come cheap no more. And yeah, so you can give them access to all sorts of things through this process. So as you can see, all of my items are here again. The Ebon Wing I gave him earlier, that came back. So you can give him all sorts of stuff. So you can give him more stat ups. And doing this essentially can max them out. You can then promote them. The classes that they've gotten, they actually remember them. Oh yeah, it's very busted. Um, so this, you can essentially max them out just from this. No training required. And you can just have a ball with them. And you essentially just repeat what I just did ad infinitum until they are just unstoppable, or until you want to stop. Either way, because I know a lot of people they play Fire Emblem for different reasons. I like absolutely breaking these guys and having them be monsters on the battlefield. But if you want someone who's slightly stronger, you can only do this process once and then you'll be fine. The reason I like to do this is because there is PvP battles. So when you visit other people via Street Pass, you can take a look at their castles, and then, I like to slam my units into them. I like to use what I like to call the Christoph Core over here, and then just fight their units. So yeah, you just repeat this process, and then, yeah, you got your big old strong unit. So with that, essentially what you have are units that have really great stats and access to DLC classes for free. So let's see. Yeah, Einherjar. Yeah, so to answer Manatiki's question here, or to, I guess, talk about what they just said, the Manatiki mentions that when they played Awakening for the first time, their team was mostly Einherjar. This is the exact same mechanic as in Awakening. I discovered this in Fates, but then, captures then uh, excuse me for the pun, they captured my imagination because I always loved these guys because they're underdogs. But yeah, this is the exact same mechanic as in Awakening. And so it's, yeah, like these guys, I captured them at first because when I first played Birthright, General is my favorite class, and I was really bummed out that I didn't have a playable General. Um, to answer Maple Rose's question, so they ask if captures have any stats that vary. They actually do. It depends on the class that you capture them as, but for the most part, their stats are pretty, like, they do kind of vary. Like Gazak here, for example, his stats are pretty nutty, but he is a boss. The generic people, they mostly base their stats on their class. So Susie over here as a Falcon Knight has the exact same caps as another Falcon Knight. Speaking of caps, actually, another thing I want to mention. As you can see, my castle is pretty much nothing but statues. If you, whoops, didn't mean to go in the arena. Hi, Fuga. Fuga, you are everywhere today. What are you doing? Um, so yeah, the statues, if you get 100 kills for everyone, they even affect the generics too. It's not just their friends. So with that, as you can see, he has 272 stat total, and then with this thing, he gets even stronger, which I can demonstrate later if we have the time. So what was I saying? So I captured this guy because, General's my favorite class. I was bummed out I couldn't capture them in Birthright. And when I saw that Orochi had a skill to capture, I immediately captured the first General I found, right? And he became my ride or die. I gave him the Guard Naginata, that's the Wall Brother, hey Wall. And he just became absolutely unkillable. That extra 5 res was ridiculous. And he, unironically, without a word of a lie, became my best unit. It is incredible. And this was before I learned how to abuse them with the logbook. And so it was a fun story of an underdog coming to the top, and I made sure to recruit him, Tomoe, and Susie here in every single playthrough I do, just because I really love their designs. So Star Rod Piplup asks that some of them were meant to be regular units at one point. Yeah, so I was going to get to that, but let's talk about that right now. So Candace is the one that you mentioned. So yes, so Candace and Nicole, these two right here, they at first were meant to be regular units. If you take these two into battle, yeah, their designs are awesome. We can talk about that later, but they have really sweet designs. Can I move this out of the way? Yeah. Yeah, like their designs are really cool, right? And so the story goes that these two were originally supposed to be playable characters, but for time reasons, they didn't make the cut. And this is further proven where if you take them into battle and they get a crit, they get the same cut ins as everyone else. So the other guys, like the generics, when they get a crit, they don't get a cut in. But Candace and Nicole, they get a cut in. And yeah, so Candace and Haitaka, they are so iconic that they made it into Fire Emblem Heroes. So for those who are wondering who the heck these people are, this is where they come from. Haitaka is an absolute goat. So I think I retired him at some point. I'll talk about why. But Haitaka is absolutely amazing. And yeah, absolutely Phoenix Fox. Candace deserves to be in Fire Emblem Heroes. And Haitaka, he's my man as well. So at this point, because now that you understand how capture works and how to make them, really strong, another thing that Fire Emblem does, in Fates anyway, with Lunatic, is give them a lot of scary skills. So, Virgil, I'll use him as an example here. So he is found in Birthright, and typically Lancers don't learn skills and they're an unplayable class. The only way to have a playable Lancer is to capture one. And so Virgil here has. Oh, wait, I'm clicking the wrong screen. So he has Elbow Room from the Cavalier line, Natural Cover from the Knight line, Underdog from the Villager line, and Lancefair from the Spearmaster line. All of these came from a single unit in Birthright, and I just captured him, and now he's my homie. They also get access to DLC skills. So things like Aggressor, Gale Force, Aether, you can slap those bad boys onto our friends here. In fact, Christoph being a general, he's got low movement, right? I can throw in warp on him, and all of a sudden that is fixed. He can go wherever he wants. It's pretty crazy. And then he also has the Iron Will to stop him from taking more magic damage. And yeah, Vaporos, the Widow's Peak of Hytaka is absolutely incredible. So I'm gonna load up my original save here. So let me just reset my game again. Let's go back to my original save so I can show off some of the more noteworthy captures. So, unfortunately for Revelation and Birthright, the captures don't stand out too much. They played it safe. They don't have too many fancy skills. But in this logbook, of the 98 people I captured, and I guess the one guy I captured just now, all of these people you see here, from Saya all the way up here, all these people came from Conquest, and they all have unique skills. I could talk about these guys all day, but I only have an hour, so I'm not going to do that. So let's talk about some of the more noteworthy ones. So we were already talking about him, so let's keep going with him. Haitaka, the man, the myth, the legend. So he hails from Chapter 9 of Conquest, and he is absolutely iconic. I don't even know if I need to talk about him. But essentially, he comes with rally defense. And in people's runs of Conquest, people were mentioning that they used capture specifically for this man. And having that +4 defense in Conquest really helps. And because he shows up as early as Chapter 9, which is the first chapter that you can actually capture people in, it's a huge deal. And so what I've done here with him is I've given him Rally Spectrum, Rally Movement, and he's just become essentially a proto-rally man. I've given him Rend Heaven from the what's it called? The Basara class, and then Lancefair from the Master Spear or Spearmaster class. So this guy is pretty strong, and he is essentially a great rally bot now. So also to preface this, I do use all these people for PvP. So this is all for tackling other castles. That's what all these guys are built for. So alongside him is someone who is very underrated. Where is he? I think he's somewhere here. So he alongside him is a samurai that comes with quick draw. Now, quick draw is normally an archer skill, and it does +4 damage when he attacks, which is really good for making a glass cannon. Because as I mentioned earlier, they get access to DLC skills, and they have access to the heart seal class for a different class. So for example, sword masters can turn into masters of arms. And so what I've given him here is this is what he comes with, the quick draw. So he does +4 damage when he attacks, but he also has sword fare from sword master, so that's +9 damage. Life or death from the Master of Arms class, +19 damage. And then the aggressor class, which I think, if my math is right, 26. If not, feel free to point and laugh at me. But that's 26 free damage just for him attacking people. It's pretty nuts. And then I give him Gale Force so he can just eliminate people even more. He is horrifying. So this guy, who is very often overlooked, is, as you can see by the little sword here, he is part of my main team. So another noteworthy person to talk about is a Wyvern Lord who shows up in chapter 13. So this is in Chev, I believe. So in my headcanon, this guy's one of Scarlet's besties. And so he also comes with quick draw, which means I can do the same thing as that samurai. I can give him trample, which is +5 damage against pretty much everyone in the game. I gave him Robin's Ignis because as a Malignite, he has pretty good magic, but right now I made him a Wyvern Lord. And then I, of course, give him the Aggressor and Gale Force from the DLC. So this guy, again, just like Ukyo up here, incredibly strong, and also everyone has 2 boots. So, and as you can see in this save, my boots are still here. I still got them, and then yeah, everyone here is all booted up on a Friday night. It's pretty crazy. So another noteworthy chapter is chapter 14. So this is the one where you're in the Opera House and Garone is under attack by Hoshidan forces. And so the leader of this is Kumagera. So he is the second boss that you can capture. So most of the bosses live in the Paralogs. I'll get to them, no worries. So Kumagera here, he's trying to assassinate King Garen. He still is. Good luck, buddy. He comes with all sorts of blow skills. So he has Darting Blow, Certain Blow, and Death Blow. So when he's on the attack, he gets +5 effective speed, a hit chance of 40% extra, and a crit chance of +20. So on top of that, you can then give him, I believe, counter comes from one of his classes, and then counter magic comes from either he comes with it or something else. I don't forget. But either way, he now has a really versatile kit. No worries. I was not about that. We can keep going. So yeah, Kumagera. Yeah, Beowulf. Kumagera's my guy. As you can see here, he's in my main party. In fact, I can just show you from here. So yeah, Kumagera's my guy. He has a horse spirit here that gives him all these stats, plus these blow skills, plus the counters. He's very, very versatile. He can do all sorts of things. He has right now 262, but then you eat the Rainbow Tonic. Oh, he gets real strong. So yeah, Kumagera, one of the goats when it comes to the boss units. Another really notable. So Maple Rose asks if they get access to another class besides what they come as. So yeah, the DLC classes are given to them, but let me just show you real quick with a heart seal. So I mentioned earlier that they come with one other class that they can use a heart seal. So my boy Christoph, he can be an example here. So he's in the Knight line. So as a general, he gets access to Great Knight if you use a heart seal on him. So that's where his Luna comes from. So they have, even without DLC, they have a lot of skills that they can play with. They can actually easily get a skill set of 5, just like everyone else. And as you can see, you can make them all the DLC and amiibo classes as well. So that gives you a lot of toys to play with. They're just as versatile as the main cast, but also you don't need to support people to do it. You don't have to commit to that kind of thing. These are one of the niches of capture units is that they have they have absolutely no commitment. Like, as you can see, these guys are maxed out, and I didn't use a single item on them, technically. And another thing to note, actually, now that I'm talking about that, the logbook thing, which I forgot to mention earlier, this can apply to bond units as well. as well as the amiibos, and also Einerjar as well. So as you can see with the amiibos here, my Marth and my Lucina and everyone here, they're all maxed out. They're all good to go. They can take out pretty much anything in their path. And for bond units, which are even scarier, they come with like the personal skills, and you can give them all sorts of customization. I'm not going to talk about these guys too long, but because they are just a side note here. But everything I talk about with the captures here, they're applicable with anything that touches the logbook. So continuing on, I guess, with the chapters, the other chapter that I really, that really caught my interest was chapter 20. I think this is actually Fuga's Wild Ride. And so chapter 20 comes with a Falcon Knight who shows up as reinforcements. If you wait a little bit enough time for her to show up, she comes with Trample. And you might be noticing a pattern here. That gives me the okay to give her all these other skills that I've given to the others as well. So Darting Blow, Aggressor, Gale Force. She's, again, a very aggressive unit in which I can fly in, take somebody out, and either take somebody else out or fly out Kanto style. And then there is the big one. So chapter 23, which is where you fight Takumi on the big castle, comes with the man I think needs absolutely no introduction. Rally Man. I mean, do I need to say anything here? Look at him. He's got all these rallies. So Rally Man is the GOAT. He is the person that people play Conquest for. And I see people cheering already, so there he is. Yeah, so Rally Man, he was actually someone I considered cosplaying at one point, but then COVID happened. But yeah, Rally Man is an absolute legend, and even in my castle fighting days, all I needed to do was make him Grandmaster and slap on the Rally Spectrum, and then he's just immediately great. The other thing you can do with him is give him the what's it called, the Dark Flyer class. Which gives him Gale Force, but also Rally Movement. So you can do Rally Movement plus all these. Both of these are very valid and very scary. Another thing you could do, so this chapter I mentioned was the big one. Rally Man is only just the headlining act. He comes with all sorts of people. This chapter had me like a kid in a candy shop. Alongside Rally Man, there is also a sniper here. He has counter. Counter on a sniper is ridiculous. So you can bop this guy, but he hurts you right back. And one of the DLC skills is Point Blank, which allows him to fire at one range. So if you bop this guy, you're getting punished. And on top of that, this sniper also comes with Life and Death, which is normally only a Master of Arms skill. And so as a ranged unit that has pretty solid strength, this plus 10 damage does so much. Added that with the bow flare and the aggressor. As you can see, I have a strategy I like doing, being aggressive, but these guys are all very, very strong. Yeah, so I see Silent Works mentioned enemy phase emblem. There's also a lot of guys that are great in the enemy phase. I'm going to skip ahead a bit and talk about the next chapter over, chapter Ryoma will wait 20 turns chapter. There is a Master of Arms there, Rallyman's brother here, Kazuma. He has both of these skills, I'll call them the shield skills, Pavis and Aegis. He has Vantage, and then he learns Seal Strength through just natural Master of Arms skills. So this guy's a really good tank in which he can tank all sorts of things by having pretty damn good skill. He can Vantage to fight back if need be, and then Seal Strength to weaken them after he's inevitably survives combat. And so, yeah, like all sorts of fantastic people all around. Just to go back to chapter, 23 for a bit. So alongside him are people who also are kind of overshadowed here. So Rintaro and Kazunari, these two Spearmasters here, I like to call them the Rally Brothers. So these guys are hanging out next to Hinata in that very same chapter you find Rally Man. And so these guys come with these two rally skills as well. So together, they use every single rally skill in the game, even the ones that Rally Man doesn't have. So for example, Rally Luck, Rally Resistance, Rally Speed. I forget which ones are the ones that Rally Man has at this moment, but they come with all the rally skills that he doesn't. So the only one that they don't come with is Rally Magic, I believe. On that same chapter, there's a third Spearmaster who's also incredibly strong. He comes with Seal Strength, Defense, and Speed. He's debuffing people by so many stats, and then he has Lunge. So you can throw a javelin at someone and then weaken them by 6 levels worth of stats, essentially, even more than that, and then swap places with them and disposition them, and then you just batter them, right? So many fantastic units on this chapter. Um, and then all right, and then just to head back to chapter 25, that's the Ryoma chapter. So I've already talked about the Master of Arms, that's who he is, who is incredibly strong. But there's also some contenders here in terms of ninjas. Oh yeah, I forgot. There was another chapter where you visit Mokushu, the ninja world, and these ninjas come with Grizzly Wound. I forget offhand. Let me just check my notes here. So this would be chapter, if I am correct, chapter 17 of Conquest. So this is where that shrine maiden with lock touch I mentioned earlier comes from. But this guy here comes with Grizzly Wound and Poison Strike. So both of these skills more or less do the same thing, in which it's 20 HP after combat. They stack. You hit somebody with this dude, and he chips out 40% of your health. It is absolutely ridiculous, and now he's on my side. And yeah, like he is very strong. He comes with all that, and being a master ninja, he has some incredible stats. Mine that is in my team right now. Where is he? Yamato, that's it. So he has a Sunrise Katana to give him that avoidance. And so the benefit of Grizzly Wound is that it's any combat, he doesn't have to initiate. So he can dodge tank and then just boop, there goes 20% of your health. Pretty freaking nasty. And so then the last chapter, chapter 26 of Conquest, it really ends with a boom. Chapter 26 comes with all sorts of Norian units this time. So this is the last time you can capture people. There is a hero there who comes with Aegis and 2 breaker skills. I combined that with Soul and Iron Will, so he has like a really good enemy phase longevity. Daggers and axes basically don't do anything to him, especially since he can use a sword to get that weapon triangle advantage. And with his really high skill, he can soul bad guy his way into full health anytime he does get hit. There are also some generals as well. Helmet here comes with counter magic and warding blow. So when he's on the attack, yeah, he's not taking any magical damage. -20, what were they thinking? And then plus this as well. He's not getting doubled because he naturally learns Wary Fighter. And counter magic then, if someone does hurt him, he hits back. And so I could talk about all these guys all day, but we gotta get moving. So these are only a fraction of the people that are capturable and that come with really amazing skills. Especially for Conquest, every single chapter from 9 up to 26, minus the ones where you can't capture people because you're fighting ghosts, they all come with amazing people, as you can see. I filled my logbook with these freaks, so I love them all. I really do. And so other places you can find good captures. Oh, yeah, before I move on to actually. So after this panel, I will post in this text chat here, and if you're watching this on YouTube, in the description will be a Google Doc of every single capture that I found noteworthy that you can browse. It's sort of like a Pokedex. So you can browse that to your leisure to find all sorts of wonderful, fantastic captures that you can get. And so Not a Jin asks if it's worth it to capture at lower difficulties or mostly just Lunatic. So the main guys that I captured, they all came from, well, the first 3 I caught from my first playthrough. So Kristoff, Susie, and Tomoe all came from I believe it was my first playthroughs of wherever they came from. I captured them just because I like their designs, and because of how much you can use the logbook to make them strong, I say it's worth it if you really want to. But purely from a PvP tryhard standpoint, if you wanted something unique out of them, it does have to come from Lunatic, I'm afraid. All the Conquest people, they do have some skills in hard, so a lot of the people do have unique skills in hard, but Lunatic is where the really fun people like Rallyman live. So that, if you did want to find capture people, you would have to go through Lunatic. That is my just a bit of a side note. And so with that said, and with the fact that, if you wanted to peruse every single unit that you can capture, I've actually made a Google Doc of that. You can look through that in the Pokedex I've left behind. But let's now talk about some of the bosses you can capture. So, as you know, when two people fall in love and they ask support, they throw a baby in the baby realm, and, you can go back there and recruit the kid. Who cares about them? Most of those paralogs come with friends who serve as the bosses there. So we talked about Nicole and Candice. They are actually the bosses of Kana's and Midori's paralogs, respectively. And so any non-story related boss, you can capture them and they can become your best friends. And they keep their unique portraits, they keep their unique name, and yeah, they just become a part, like essentially a playable character. And so some of these come with some really unique skills. So where is he? So Gazak over here, he is unironically the best unit in the game. I am not kidding. He has insane growths. He has some of the best growths in the game. I think his strength growth is like 65 or something ridiculous like that. His growths are really high. He comes from Forest's Paralog, by the way. But his growths are really high because it has something to do with like the way they scale it. The later you do the Paralog, the stronger they come out as. And so his growths are ridiculous. His bases are ridiculous. Even ignoring the logbook abuse, he comes out incredibly strong no matter when you capture him. And he then in Lunatic comes with Pavis. He comes with Certain Blow and Good Fortune. Good Fortune he can learn naturally, I think. I don't remember. But then you can teach him Soul from the Hero line and then Axe Fair from the Berserker line. And you've got an absolute powerhouse in your hands. And he is incredibly strong right out the box when you capture him. It's amazing. And yeah, Maple Rose, I do wish they had personal skills as well. So everyone else here has really unique designs as well. And yeah, like I guess before I move on to talking about the boss units, I guess one more thing I want to mention is that Christoph here, him and the other captures I have here, they shaped my love for Fire Emblem Fates. These are, it went from a story about Corin making questionable choices and people playing Among Us and ghosts and all the memes, all that, right? It went from that to it's a story about this man in an armor who it's an underdog story, right? I'm just watching him grow from generic enemy that nobody really thinks about to my main character is it's a lot of fun, right? So it was fun making my own story for him. It was fun watching him grow and fun essentially just taking what people criticize the most about Fates and having my own version of it. And so there's a lot of customization here, and that's like one of Fates' strong suits. And as you can see, everyone here has been customized that's to some degree to be their own powerhouse. And so since we have a little bit of time left here, before we finish up, let's take a look at some of the designs. The other reason why I love captures so much is their designs. So I have a Rate the Fit segment where I prepared for in case I had some extra time. We can talk about either the bosses or the generic designs as well. Whichever one that suits your fancy, I'm more than happy to do so. Um, so I think I'm going to go with these bosses first, and then I will add in some of the generic units I like as we go. And yeah, Super Persona 4 or Super. Yeah, I think I read that right. Super User Person 4. There you go. Yeah, like this is the real magic of Fire Emblem to me. When I first played Fire Emblem, it was Shadow Dragon, and I abused the living daylights out of the arena. And so the logbook abuse was the return of arena abuse to me. And yeah, so let's talk about some of these freaks here. So automatically, I think Candice and Nicole they go in the could pass as a main character. Why? Because they were main characters before they got axed by time reasons. And so, if anyone has any opinions on what they think about these guys, feel free to voice them because I would love to chat this out with you guys. And so, who's next in the list? So next we've got Daichi. So let's take a closer look at him here. So Daichi, he is a Basara coming from, I believe it was Selki's chapter. He's a poacher who hunts for kitsune fur. He's quite the scoundrel, it says. But you know what? I can't get over the kabuki aesthetic. I love this man. He is really unique looking. The fact that he has that kabuki aesthetic, he even has like the kabuki colors, right? The black, orange, and green that they use in the quixotic skill animation. Yeah, like absolutely Maple Rose. This guy would definitely be great friends with Odin as well. I could definitely see that. And because of that, and a little bit of bias, because funny Kabuki man, I would put him in A. He is a absolutely he's a cool individual that looks very unique. He stands out. So next in line we've got Daniela. So Daniela is a I believe she actually comes from the same chapter Christoph comes from. I missed out on her at first because I was so hyper focused on capturing a general. I didn't even think to see if I could capture her. But Daniela is the commander of the border guard in Nor. I believe she comes from chapter 12 of Birthright, if I remember correctly. And so she, she's really cool looking. She's a strategist. And so she's got that, excuse my French, she's got that boss bitch look to her, you know what I mean? She looks like she's really strong, she's really confident, and just really smug, and absolute girl boss. Yeah, she does look like she could be a minor villain as well. And yeah, also Maple Rose, that's true. If you recruit her to, I believe, the Dark Flyer class, she keeps her horse and it just floats. It doesn't actually, it doesn't actually turn into a Falicorn. In fact, let me see if I can show that off real quick. Um, I don't have her in my party, so let's see here. Unit logbook. You know what? I had you here for the bit. Go big, go home. Whoops. Okay. No, I dismissed the unit. Okay, Daniela, let's see you on that flying horse. Yeah. Plenty of cash to spare. Okay, so I believe I have her, Evan Wing. Let's see, Dark Falcon, that's what it's called. And then, bada boom, here's her horse. Whoa, my goodness, where are those wings? Are you okay, buddy? She's got a magic flying horse. So, yeah, Daniela, for this alone, oh, why are you looking at me like that, Daniela? Yeah, for this alone and the fact that she's got a floating horse, she's absolutely main character material, if you ask me. That could even be her unique class and unique support, whatever. So, yeah, you're a main character. So who's next in line? So, Funk. Oh yeah, I should also say before I move on to Funk, Daniela, she also comes with a skill just like Haitaka. Even in Lunatic, I believe, she comes with Savage Blow, which normally is a Malignite thing. So she can do some really fun AoE stuff. So anyway, we now have Funk, Mr. Funky Town himself. Now, people might not remember him too much. I don't see very many people talking about. I don't see many people talking about Funk in terms of just him. He kind of faded in the background. That reminds me of a certain somebody I know, someone who's overlooked a lot, someone who has a certain look to him. In fact, I think he kind of looks like Waluigi. I think because of this, he really stuck with me. He's a Waluigi wannabe. He's got the nose. He's got the rose. And if I recolor him just a little bit, bada boom, we got the man himself. Um, yeah, he does have that Lorenz feeling to him because he has the rose. And Fioriel, I'm really glad you like Funk too. He is absolutely a barrel of laughs. I love this man. Unfortunately, he doesn't come with any skills, but I still think he looks great. And this dastardly man, I think he also absolutely goes in A tier. He looks great. And next we have Gazak. So Gazak over here. Look at that $1,000,000 smile. How does he have pearly whites like this in medieval times? He is just absolutely beautiful, right? Look at him. He's very happy. So as I mentioned earlier, he is the guy from Forrest's Paralog. I don't even remember what he does, honestly. He just kind of shows up, Forrest gets kidnapped, and then you beat him up and rescue Forrest. But while I'm at it, I also rescued Gazak too, because he's a wonderful, wonderful man. He's very strong. And so he has like the berserker, he has the fighter outfit, and I think he really pulls those red shoulder pads well. His scar is an interesting story too. I wonder how he got that. And just again, those magnificent pearly whites. I think that makes him worthy of, yeah, A tier. As you can see, I think very highly of these people. And so he also reminds me of a certain somebody as well. So he looks a lot like, if I have the name correct, Ainsley Harriott. He's got that $1 million smile. He's a TV presenter who I believe does cooking shows. And when I first saw Gazak, he looked just like him. And that picture that I showed just now was like a big meme that was like floating around, you know? So another reason to love Gazak. And yeah, like Gazak, Silfer, just to, I guess, point it out, Gazak's name is based on Gazak, who was a pirate from the very first game, Shadow Dragon. So he was the first boss you beat up, and he's a pirate. You don't really think much about him. But Gazak is based on him. And even funnier, they actually make another callback to Gazak when you do Percy's paralogue, in which they confuse Arthur for him. It is pretty funny. You can bring him along, but yeah, he doesn't actually say anything. He's just kind of there being a little bandit man. But yeah, Gazak is based on Gazak from Shadow Dragon. So next, we got Haitaka. So he is just, he's got the generic spear fighter cost. I mean, everyone uses the generic designs, but the generic designs are so good that main characters pull it off, right? Like Nicole's armor, I guess just to quickly show him off, Nicole's armor is basically just it's basically just a male version of Camilla's armor, right? He's got like that purple cloth over him. He's got the strap, the armor, and it looks good on him, man. And yeah, like the thing I really like about the generic designs, which I can real quick show off, the Malignite. I remember like these just look like main character designs simply because they are, right? They are designs that were they go well on main characters, like the one of my personal favorites, the Shrine Maiden. This is one of Sakura's outfits, right? And it just, yeah, that's a Shrine Maiden that looks great. There is the Kinshi Knight who has Reina's armor and has like the sun gimmick on their back there. Also looks like a main character. But anyway, Haitaka really pulls off the Spearfighter outfit. He looks like he's confident. He knows what he's doing. He's one of the rare characters who's showing off his back too, right? Like he's got a different pose. He looks combat ready. He looks rad. And also just putting aside the bias that he is Haitaka, yeah, A tier for him too. Yeah, so yeah, Maple Rose also points out that like they also have different hairstyles. You can take off their. Actually, I still have Daniela here, don't I? Yeah, I can actually show this off right here. Let me just yeah. So you can actually take off their hat there. So yeah, she has like a hair bun there going on. That's like a lot of attention to detail that you might not notice. And even the generals, they have faces. Look at them. That's Kristoff's face reveal. That's kind of cursed, actually. I'm going to move on from that. And yeah, Kumagera, I gave him the samurai mask. And then Haitaka, who's not here right now, he has the very aggressive Widow's Peak. So yeah, oh, also say hello to Lloyd Star. That's Lloyd. I made him a Lodestar. Don't worry about it. Yeah, please. Yeah, Lloyd Star. He's got the Lloyd Star, the Lewin sword, and he's always with his brother Llewellyn. Yeah, so anyway, coming back to what I was talking about, like Haitaka really does pull off this look well, and he is also iconic. So we've sung enough of his praises. Kumagera, oh my goodness, he looks so cool. He has that sake bottle back there. He has the Oni mask. You can put Ryoma's samurai mask on him, and it like doubles up with the Oni mask, and it's an even fuller mask. And he's got like those tribal tattoos going on, and just has that like rugged look, and like the Dulcim skulls on his waist. Like, I just automatically he's a main character for me. He's so cool, and it's just like he has that like like if you want to say Oni Chieftain, this is the Oni Chieftain. This guy he's my tribal chief. I acknowledge him. So yeah, absolute Giga Chad. So next, let's talk about the brothers. So we got Lloyd Star and Llewellyn. So this is Llewellyn. He, I believe, if I remember correctly, Lloyd and Llewellyn were also a bit from a previous Fire Emblem game. I think they were also present in Awakening and may have been other ones as well. I don't remember. Um, and yeah, Lumerican, the Nicole and Candace thing, I did mention that earlier. And to me, they're main characters, and that's why they pass as main characters, right? And so, yeah, so these two, they have that, like, big, dumb berserker look. They've got, like, the mom tattoo with the hearts on their hands. And they just, like, have that, like, that rough look of, they're bandits. And I think Lloyd here also just passes really well as a Lloyd star. Um, in fact, let me just put Lloyd star right up in there. Just add you to the list real quick. There you go, your main character. So, in terms of Lloyd and Llewellyn here, they do pass as main characters. I mean, not main characters. They get the job done, is what I meant to say. Unfortunately, they don't have too much going on because they do have to be generic Berserker man. They get a lot going on. They're also a fun bit. They're B, but I can also put them in A just because I love them. I'm biased. If it was up to me, everyone would be A or main character status. Um, yeah, they do look like JoJo characters, Star Piplup. They absolutely do. They, in fact, I guess in my case, Lloyd Star is the user, and then Llewellyn's the stand. The sword that I named Llewellyn is a what's it called? A dual katana. So I'd like to think that he comes out and just pretends to be an axe and breaks spears. And yeah, they have a lot of brothers too. Let's see. So they're brothers in the Anna on the Run chapter. It's Lars, Lucas, Lincoln, Logan, Leland, Lamar, Lewis, Lyle, Liam, Luther, Lester, all spelled with an extra L, and Tom. God bless you, Tom. So who's next? Next up is Seno. I love this man's hat. He is so cool. The best part about Seno compared to all the other apothecaries is that if you promote him, he keeps the hat. And for that alone, he is my main character. I love this man. Like, the design itself of the apothecary is already really cool, right? They got the medicine box, they've got the hat, and just, they just have like such a great, like, they look like Ashigaru, right? They look fantastic. Ashigaru without the armor, and I love me some Chad Yari Ashigaru. So up next is, oh yeah, and also like the glasses he's got, because like, so Seno comes from Ophelia's chapter, in which he's after all the rare tomes that she's looking for, and so you can kind of tell that this guy is, like, just based on this smile of his, right? Like, he's really shrewd, he's really schemy, and he looks like he's got the smarts to use all the tomes. It's just unfortunately he doesn't because he's a merchant and or mechanist. So next we've got Tarba. So Tarba is another berserker. So as you can see, he's got like a pretty similar design to Llewellyn and Lloyd here. They've got like the same chest plate. They've got the same like belt. They've got the same gauntlets. That is the magic of the generic units at work again, in which they reuse these designs to such great effect. So he's got the same outfit and the same armor trimmings, but they all still look very unique. They are, yeah, like he's got that look of a bandit. I mean, he's got like the eye patch going on. Just like Izak, where he has the scar, you can tell that he's been through some stuff, right? He's seen combat, and he's like, I think my favorite thing is he's got like the axe over his shoulder as well, and he comes from Shiro's paralogue, I believe, if you want him. Unfortunately, just like Lloyd and Llewellyn, he doesn't come with any skills, so Gazak kind of power creeps him. But in terms of looks alone, he's up there. I love this man's look. It's just unfortunate that he's like always forgotten. And as for the last unit we want to talk about here, we have Zara. So he is a disgraced swordsman. He shows up in Soleil's chapter, and he's looking to prove himself with a blade. And so he has the look of a mercenary. He comes as a mercenary, and he's got that blue hair, and being a blue-haired mercenary, immediately everyone would compare him to Ike. I gave him the Ike's backup right away, in which yeah, he is in the same post as Gregor, Star Piplup. That is a good shout. So yeah, like he's got like that Gregor look, and like the mercenary design itself is really good, right? The shield on the arm and the really practical. Well, the armor does look really practical and very what's the word? Like, it's very lightweight, very no frills, right? So you can tell that they're very mobile, and then they got the shield to be really versatile. And I love the detail here of which he's got like the scar that like kind of runs through with this headgear, right? Like he's seen combat as well, just like these other two guys, and so he really has that gruff, like, mercenary who's seen combat look to him. And the fact that he's like, he's a disgraced swordsman, he's looking to prove himself. I can't help but feel bad for the guy. I captured him and I used the unit logbook on him. All of a sudden, he's back to his prime, and in fact, he's a main character again. So as you can see, I don't want just so I don't feel bad. Bam, that's what I think anyway. But as you can see, I love every single one of these guys. The bosses have really fantastic designs. The generics even also have really fantastic designs. Like I could go on all day about how much I love the generic designs. Just real quick, like the generals, they look like mechs, and I love mechs. These guys are so cool. The Great Knights have the same thing going for them. This maid looks like she's gonna stab me in my sleep. Um, the troubadours here, they have like a very, magic user look to them, but if you change their color, all of a sudden it's Jill Valentine from Resident Evil. The Great Master has a cool bird mask, and he's doing like the cool pose, and he's like a monk. Um, Rally Man, the Master of Arms, he's Benkei. Um, yeah, nobody's a generic enemy. Yeah, like I made that tier list, but they're all cool. Like this guy looks like, the Master Ninja's really cool. Um, the only like, oh, and Dark Knight, like this is just Death Knight before Death Knight was a thing, right? Look at how cool this guy is. He's got a skull and everything. The blacksmith, he looks like he could be my uncle, and he looks really cool and gruff. They went so hard with all these designs. The Berserker is a funny antler helmet. I love this guy because he makes me laugh. The Bisara, like he also has that kabuki look to him, just like Daichi. The Adventurer is a freaking cowboy. Like you can't go wrong with any of these. They're all so cool. And then yeah, like all the generic designs are very like Manatiki mentions when I look at generic designs, I feel inspired to do OCs. These guys here, like Christoph, Tomoe, I'm referring to them as name. Like I'm referring to my name, Susie. These people, these three ended up becoming OCs of mine essentially. Christoph is like the armor whisperer who he doesn't talk because he whispers to his armor. And yeah, like these guys were essentially my OCs. This guy is also really cool, which I talked about earlier. The only generic design that I'm not a fan of is this guy. I gotta set aside some time to dunk on this guy. Like he's got that pot belly and the funny sheet on his head. I love pointing and laughing at this man. But yeah, like everyone's design here goes really hard. Except this guy. No, this isn't about you. Yeah, the Dark Mage. He's really smug. He's ripped. Look at him. Got abs. He's super ripped, and he's got like the cool like evil mage look to him. Yeah, Dark Mage. He's absolutely amazing. Um, then we've got like let's see, like the Wyvern Lord looks really cool. They've got like the wings on their helmet. The Wyvern, what was it? Wyvern Rider, I believe it's called. They also have a really cool helmet if I can find them. I can't. That's okay. The Sorcerer also looks like he can really mess people up. Like the crow feathers. Oh, chef's kiss. And like you'll notice that like a lot of these, oh yeah, the Oni Savage with his kanabo, and he's like flexing his muscles here. Like this guy has so much personality, and he's a basic unit, right? Like it's really cool just how like much personality all these units have. And yeah, like I love these guys. They're amazing. And honorable mentions, of course, they're since this is about capturable units, I didn't mention them, but like the Nine Tails looks really cool. The Wolfskin looks really cool. Unfortunately, you can't capture them. And this one unit who comes from DLC who goes so hard that they almost put it in Fire Emblem Heroes, the Witch design. Her design is so cool, you can't capture her. I'm so upset about this. And I feel like IS knows too, because they eventually like if this outfit looks familiar to you, it is. This is Halloween Corrin's outfit in Fire Emblem Heroes. They reused this design for Corrin because that's just how hard they went on this design. They all have unique poses. They all have so much personality. Every single one of them are absolutely just beautiful designs. I love every single one of them. even the knight because I can point and laugh at him. And so, yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say. Yeah, like the witch does look like Ivy Athena. It's very true. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about captures. I love these guys. And before I sign off, I guess, how much time do we have left? Because I know it's 10, but we did run late. So I'll leave it up to you, Daniel, to let me know how much time we got left.
We're pretty much at the end for this one. We don't have a panel until 1 hour from now, but
Right.
I imagine some people want to start. If there's anybody else that has any questions to ask,
Yeah.
we do have like I guess we can spare a few more minutes if there's anything else that you want to cover and wrap up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so let's have a chat then for a few minutes. If there's any questions y'all want to ask, I'm more than happy to answer them. So let's see. The witch, yeah, like Night Sparrow mentions that the witch getting the gatekeeper treatment, that'd be amazing. Yeah, captures are so much fun. Like, until I see a question, I will also just start mentioning my closing thoughts. For everyone out there who overlooked captures, definitely please look at them. These guys are so cool. The generics, the bosses, everyone here is so cool. Like I had in case there was too much time afterwards, I did have a mock battle prep with these guys. They're all very strong, right? And they're strong. They're cool looking. They have personality despite not having any dialogue. Like they have more personality than some other Fire Emblem characters' main cast. I'll say it. And these are generic units with absolutely no dialogue, right? It's absolutely amazing how much they I forget his name, but how much the artist went hard into designing all these guys. Each and every one of these units, yes, even the knight has a place in my heart. And yeah, Haitaka making into heroes is great.
Yeah,
So how?
I
Mhm,
imagine there's a lot of people that have overlooked this avenue of Fire Emblem
mhm,
Fates because there's just like, why would I capture anybody? I have a whole cast already. But it's crazy that you can pretty much make an entire Fire Emblem game with just these units because of how many extra
mhm.
designs there are.
Yeah, like for real. Like I recently bought what was it? What's it called? SRPG Studio. I may or may not make just a game featuring these guys. It'd be fun. And so let me just answer some of the questions before we run off here, because I do know we got some time here, or we are out of time, I should say. So let me just answer some of these real quick. So, how hard is it to capture all these guys? Incredibly easy, because they are generic enemies. They actually don't come with skills. Let me actually show you here. They don't really come with skills, right? So, like for an example, this is what they start as. So you can capture them pretty easily, and then after the logbook, bam, they become super stacked. Oh, Unicorn Overlord. That's a fun mention. Um, Unicorn Overlord actually is one of the games that I played afterwards that I took the exact same concept on. Look at these guys. There's
Hmm.
Christoph right here. So I also did Unicorn Overlord with a lot of generic people. Um, so let's see. What are your thoughts on the potential seeing captures come back? Yes, please bring captures back. The potential I think is kind of low because they didn't bring it back for Three Houses and Echoes Engage. Please bring back capture. I think it's a low likelihood, but I would love it. Yeah, Niles being the one to pick to like Niles and Orochi capturing them, they became some of my favorites. So let's see. So Maple Rose, the Conquest and Lunatic ones, also relatively easy because they also it's like um it is a like Conquest is difficult when you play it normally, but they do put up a fight. But a lot of these, I don't remember struggling too much to capture them. Mainly, the difficulty with them is keeping Orochi and or Niles strong. What I did in my Conquest playthrough, I think she's here somewhere. She's not, but as you can see, there's an Einhar jar that you can use for Orochi. The Einhar jar version of Orochi, you can also do this strat for her, so you can give her a lot of magic and make her nuke people. Um, but if you're playing normally, Niles is pretty strong and Orochi's pretty strong, so they can capture them, but it does take a little bit of elbow grease. And yeah, like not a Jin, definitely it'd be great to play Fates this way. I highly encourage anyone playing these. Since Haitaka released last year, what capture would you love to see most join Fire Emblem Heroes? Um, Definitely Nicole, right? Um, Nicole has that personality. So let me find him here. Nicole has, where is it? So Nicole He's somewhere up here. But Nicole has that flavor text that says he wants to survive at every cost, but also he's got like that apathy. Where'd he go? There he is. There it is. So like he has that personality, and just like Candace, he was supposed to be a main character. So I'd love to see him in Fire Emblem Heroes. So I think that's all the questions I've seen so far. Any last minute questions before I get the hook here? I see somebody's typing, so this will be the last question before I give the floor back to Daniel. Oh yeah, his unused quote of yeah. So they mentioned that I fear death above all else. Yeah, like he has quotes, and yeah, so he's got a lot of personality. I also just like the dichotomy of him being apathetic but still wants to survive at every cost. Right? It. He's really. I think he's got a really cool backstory to work off of. So yeah, no worries. That's fine that it wasn't a question. That just gives me more time to talk about Nicole. So yeah, like every single person here, like on this tier list that you see here, I would love to see any of them. Gazak, Waluigi, Lloyd, Nicole, all of them would be fantastic. I would plus 10 them the second they make it to Fire Emblem Heroes. So, with all that said, I hope you enjoyed my panel. I hope you learned something here about Fire Emblem Fates, and I really hope you guys consider making a capture, like finding a capture of your own. Plenty of people to discover out there. Just like I mentioned earlier, I will post in the Twitch chat right now, actually. So, this is my document. So these are all the notes I made up to this point. Plenty of people I didn't talk about. I hope you find I hope you find your Christoph here. And this will also be in the YouTube description below as well. And while we're at it, like and subscribe and all that. And anyway, I pass the floor back to you, Dave. Oh, right. I should also mention. So I'm Brergrsart. I don't have any socials. But if you Google my name, you'll find me. But most of what I do isn't related to Fire Emblem. There you go. Anyway, I'll give the floor back to you, Daniel.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Brergrsart, so much for that very insightful and informative panel. There's a lot about this that I didn't really know before, and it makes. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure I've seen some other comments in the Twitch that say they're interested in giving this game a replay now too, with this in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun here too as well.
yeah, thanks so much. Before we sign
Mm-hmm.
off, just real quick, I'm going to mention just a couple more things. As you know, we are doing our charity this year with Doctors Without Borders. For those who, wait, where did that go? Everything's all over the place right now. Doctors Without Borders is a charity that provides humanitarian care for people affected by conflict, disease outbreaks, natural and human-made disasters, and the exclusion of healthcare in more than 75 countries. We have worked with Doctors Without Borders in the past, and we are always happy to do so every year that we get the chance to. Every $5 that you donate will grant you an entry into our raffle that our artists have generously put up as prizes. You can enter via the command donate for a link to our Tiltify page, or command raffle to check out all the prizes available. And we're going to take a little bit of a break now. I think at the top of the hour, in about 50 minutes from now, we're going to jump into the moderators. They're going to be playing Jackbox. It's going to be a Jackbox game hour. So even though they're going to be playing, the audience can also always participate as well. And after that will be our final stream of the day, which is going to be a Q&A with voice actor Bo Bridgeland. We're going to be chatting for the rest of the night from there on. So hope to catch you in about 50 minutes from now, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.